So am I audible? Yeah. So let me start recording.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just let me start. Yeah. So, yeah. So let us start. Okay. So we are in the last two sessions, what we discussed, where we started with a simple word called data. Let me this one. So we started with simple word called data. Then we have seen the DBMS. Then we have discussed about RDBMS. Also, then we understood database system. And if you want to design, then we discussed about how do you convert a requirement document to a traditional design. That is nothing but ER diagram. And once that ER diagram discussed, how visually represent it with the various symbols. And also then once that is done, so we also discussed about constraints or conditions. Okay. Once the database design is done, we have to do the verification. That is nothing but normalization we have understood. In that we discussed about first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, BCNF, fourth normal form, and fifth normal form. So as we said that, okay, only we restrict ourselves to design a database at third normal form that we have discussed. Then after that, like we also discussed about denormalization, which is the opposite process of normalization. So like this, we are able to till this we have discussed in the last three sessions, I think. So today we are talking about in fourth session. Start with SQL and let us discuss that. And then, so I will tell you in our YouTube channel, there is a installation of MySQL is there. You can go through that and you can install it. Okay, I'll show that. Then we'll start with the first part of the SQL. Okay, that is nothing but DDL. Okay, so then we go for DML. Later, we'll talk about a few things about BCL, which is not required extensively, just for awareness. Then once that is done, we will go for the PLSQL. So if you are able to complete, I think we have done this. Now, if you want to work with, we have plenty of databases. Okay. Here we are taking RDBMS software is MySQL. And if you want to work with PostgreSQL or something like that, that installation steps also is there in our channel. You can go there and you can try to figure out that. So let me start with what is SQL and why, what is the importance of this query language, and we'll discuss. So SQL is a declarative language. Okay, it is a declarative language. So when you talk about C programming, it is not a declarative. For everything, you have to write the definition. Whereas SQL, this is the first, it is just like declarative. You will tell that because in Java, we have a concept of annotations, right? Similar to that, it is just querying saying that, look, I want this much data. And this is the condition. So that kind of programming language we are talking about is SQL. It is a still powerful programming language in the current world. So that means SQL is the language through which you are going to interact with the database. what are the, whenever we are talking about like any language, most likely, we always discuss about the features. Okay. We always discuss about the features. For example, if you want to say C procedural, so what is the impact? For example, if myself is a Mallikarjuna, okay, if you want to say that Mallikarjuna, what is his features? So you people observe some small things, okay? He is a developer. He is a like a mentor for various people. Or you may be telling that, okay, this person will conduct a training. Okay. Also, he is contributing in Java, .NET, the AI. So like this, based on that, you may designate me as a teacher or a corporate trainer or a developer. It depends actually. So that means that is the key characteristic. Something like that. Okay, you people also identify maybe from the what color of shirt he wears. Okay, what is his hairstyle? Okay, like this, these call it as the features. Similar to that, any language will be having the characteristics and features. So when you say procedural oriented programming language, it has its own features. Object oriented means it has its own feature. Similar to that, SQL has also some key characteristics of SQL. So I am talking here, thinking that you people are from non-IT or you people are from the big. That's why if you are from the computer science background, yes, I am covering all the topic, but the explanation, whatever I am giving, it is almost nearly to the layman understanding. So that always I believe that the foundation should be great to understand further. So one is database management. What is this database management? Already we have discussed. Okay. The primarily the database management means CRUD operation, creation of a data, modification of the data, updation of the data, so deletion of the data. So this is called database management. Similarly, if you want to query related to the data, the select queries we have, okay, and we may apply certain conditions, sorting, aggregation. This is also one of the beautiful thing about the SQL. Data manipulation and data definition and data control. This is if you are able to manage this through the SQL language. And another thing is, for example, the transactions, okay? Because suddenly, some table has executed, some table has been failed. That means transactions, whatever we call it is a workflow, right? A workflow. For example, if you go to the ATM, you put the card and you enter the PIN, and then you enter the like a withdraw amount. Then hardware dispenser will come and give back the amount. So that is one complete transaction. Assume that in between some challenging issue happened, like hardware dispenser is failed. Okay, that means your transaction should be rolled back to the previous state. So that is called data transactions. Data transactions is also a most important for us. Similarly, when you are you want to have a data from various tables, then we are talking about joins. And when you are writing the embedded queries or condition query and the queries, then we call it as subqueries. For reports and all these things, okay, I need to connect so many databases, okay, and I want to create one single table. We call it as a view, okay. So that views virtual tables we can create, and also we can follow. Usually SQL is standardized through ANSI and ISO. Based on that, some simple syntaxes may variations will be there, but based on the syntax variation, we call it as a standardization. Instead of like a MySQL follow certain standard, PostgreSQL follow certain standard, Oracle follow certain standard. Similarly, SQL Server follows standard. It would be difficult for us. That's why learn SQL language, use any one of this database, and then rest of the things you can learn in no time. You do not require to worry too much. Okay. So only thing is whether you know SQL language or not, it is not mandatory to learn all the databases. Just you should know how to install, how to configure, how to use it. So that's all you require. I have seen plenty of people who they do the SQL, then they will go for the SQL Server training and Oracle. So it is not required like that. Logic behind that is very same. Maybe some variations in data type, that which standardization format they will follow, that you can learn in the course of action within a day or two. So that is not an object. But what is required is
what is SQL, how to write the queries, okay, and what kind of joins, because basically in joins, anywhere, if you would first, they will ask about joins only, right, in the interview. So we should prepare on those things. So in this journey of next 2 weeks, you will understand all those things. Okay. Now, let us, before getting into that, I need one database to be used. For example, if you want to check for the extension, you can go here. I will show you. If you want to do that, you can go to the UPL, YouTube. Okay, I have one, because instead of spending too much time for the installation, so you can go to the type UPL snipe. Okay, so there will be a YouTube channel. So in this, if you go here, okay, there may be installation playlist. You can go to the installation playlist, and there is installation, software installation guides are there. In this, you look for okay, MySQL. So here it is there. If it is a PostgreSQL, you can go here. So there will be a installation guide here. You can go through that to install MySQL and MySQL Workbench. So you can install here, and this will give the steps how to use like a command prompt as well as a Workbench. And using that, you can start using it. So you can use both actually. The only thing is you blindly follow this steps. Okay, just you have to go here and try to see that, so that it will save almost 10 to 15 minutes. So I assume that you will follow and you will be using this Workbench. Okay, so you have to follow this and installation playlist and just see that, okay, whether you want to work with MySQL, whether you want to work with the PostgreSQL. So if required, we will add the SQL Server as well, and also other databases, this one. So just you follow that and try to install. Okay, and whichever the database you are comfortable, but you follow, but use the similar kind of syntax, and there may be minor variations in the queries, and you can able to do that. Just follow here and you can do that. If you subscribe here, you can keep getting the notifications as well. So that is how you can do that. Now, assume that you have installed, okay? By following, you will go here, okay? MySQL work, the download. Okay, you can go to this, okay, and you can install or a Workbench. You can use that, okay. So all these things you can do by following this. Assume that I have done all those steps, okay. I have done all those steps. How do you do that then? Then you go here, okay. So let me create MySQL Workbench. Once you installed, assume that you have followed that video and you have installed it. So let me use this. So, but during installation, please remember when you are giving the password, don't forget it. Okay, once you forget it, once again you have to reinstall. So I don't want you to forget to, you have to follow the step. Whenever you are giving the username, password, okay, you should be very careful. So that is how you should remember. Now this is a Workbench. Similar to that, okay, if you want to use the command prompt, if you have installed properly, -u root -p. So I use same password, I can go. So here, that means I can execute queries either in the Workbench, okay, either in the Workbench, or I can work in the command prompt also. Currently, I'm using MySQL, which is open source. Prominently, most of the projects people are using it nowadays, and PostgreSQL is one among them. And other than that, .NET people will use the SQL Server. And earlier days, when our time, Oracle people are using, but because of lot of technology advancement, so now the DevOps people will take the lightweight databases and they can develop the application. Because of that, nowadays all databases are the MySQL, PostgreSQL, and is more popular. So we will take for this journey to learn MySQL to execute the queries. Now, if you get into this one, so what are the parts of SQL we have to learn? So the SQL, but ignore at this moment, you are using the window of this one. So first you are learning is data definition language. Data definition language. So data definition language. Data definition language. Okay, so here
here we call it as a DDL. Okay. Similarly, we have data manipulation language. That is called DML. So then data control language. That is called DCL. Now, if you go to the data definition language, so what are the options we have? So the name itself indication is definition. What is definition? It means we are going to the creation things. So that is what we are doing as a part of this. What are the creations we have? I can create a database. So this is the first part. Once I create, I want to drop this database. I can drop it. Create a table. So database you have created, and within the database, I can create a table. Assume that I have created a table, but I need a modification. So then alter table. And I can, for every creation, there is a drop. Similarly, for performance wise, if I want to improve, I want to create the index. It is just like in your textbook, we wanted to index to reach the particular page or a part of that. Similarly, drop index, create view. So that is nothing but it is a virtual table, and drop view, create schema, and drop schema. So together, all these things, I can say that together, all these things we call it as a data definition language. What we are trying to do is we are going to perform all these activities. Creation of a database, creation of a table, creation of a index, creation of a view, and creation of the schema. We'll understand what it is. Don't worry. It is very simple only. Okay. Now the question is here, what is creation? Create the database. Okay. So create database is nothing but this is the syntax. Create database name. Because I believe that the people who joined for last 3 sessions, they know what is database. Database is nothing but logical, coherent group of organizing the data. Like, so for maybe you may be working for payroll application, or you may be working on the some logistic application. So around that, we create a database. The create database name, and create database name. This is how we have to give that. And what is the symbolic representation of drop database and drop database name. For example, I can create here as well, or I can create here as well. So just if I go here, assume that you have installed using these things, you can create here new script. So it is there new script here. I can type, okay, create database, the database name, maybe MyDB. Okay. So MyDB, you can do that. So if you do this, so just if I execute the database, if you refresh it, you can able to see the MyDB. If I want to create the database, so actually DB name they are asking, right? So it is a user defined. So create database, okay, UPL, okay, UPL DB database. So now let me execute this, so I can able to see the another database. So this is how I can create the database. For example, if I want to drop this, okay, in this one, then drop database MyDB. Okay, so it is dropped. It is removed actually. Similarly, if I want to drop database UPLDB. Okay, so okay, it is gone. So uppercase and lowercase, it is not like a case sensitive. So anything usually normally people will use the lowercase most of the time. So just for that reference, I am showing you here, like creating the database and dropping the database. So what is database? Already we have discussed enough. Like database is the logical representation of the information. It having the different types of logical grouping. So that is called database. So,
Sir, I
yeah,
have a question.
yeah, tell me, madam.
Sir, see, database means you said logical organization of the data. But how do we know how big this database should be? And where are we actually creating?
You mean to say how big in the sense?
See, maybe I'm creating a database for a e-commerce website.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I know is this database would be enough? Like,
Yes.
where do you define the sizes of the
No,
database?
that
Do
is,
you?
we call it as a DCL. That is a control language. But by default, whenever you want to extend the memory size, initially we create it, default size will be there. Okay. Maybe
Okay.
like the memory of information, what is the size of data, you can extend those things. But and for example, if you want to store the data in very big, like earlier days, it is not like that. Usually, normally what we used to do is, this is the good question. Let me go here. There are the different, so the size can be defined. There is a in DCL when it comes, I will tell you. At this moment, let us understand. Assume that you are working for Flipkart kind of application, and assume that you have the customer details you are maintaining and order details you are maintaining. Probably the customer every day it is keep increasing, right? And order is also keep increasing. And because of that, okay, after 3 years or 1 year or 2 year, the existing data, they will create a backup actually. Please understand. So every 6 months or 1 year, they create a zip, okay, and they will keep in the some folder, okay, and they will always it will not go whenever there is a certain limit on in the real time duration. If that, for example, every 1 year, I will take the backup because my filing is done 1 year or 2 year, or every 15 days or 20 days, they will take the backup, but always will be having the data of the current year or 2 years. If they want to get last 5 year transaction, they will extract the data, and there is a mechanism they will follow to do that. This is a real time scenario people will do it. And the size, you cannot able to, they will know that what is the voluminous data, they have to do that they will do that. But for that, okay, there are one concept, we call it as a horizontal scaling, and another one we call it as a vertical scale. What is horizontal scaling? So horizontal scaling is nothing but we are following the horizontal scaling in nothing but we are following what? So node 1, today I am using server 1 and server 1. In that, so I will maintain, okay, the customer order, customer ID from 0 to 1 lakh. Assume that this is reached. I may come up with one more server 2. So there I can maintain 1 lakh 1, okay, in real time, and to the 2 lakh. So similarly, if this is near to that, I may go to the another node that is automatically now because of node, and I can create one more structure that is may started with 3. This is maybe 0 to 1 lakh. This may be started with 2 lakh, something like that. Okay. So this is called horizontal scaling. That means you can go to n number of infinite servers, right? So this is what horizontal scaling. Earlier days, what is happening is we are using the vertical scaling. We were using the vertical scaling. When we say vertical scaling, the problem with that vertical scaling, for example, customer DB you allotted in that database table, the size you kept, assume that 1 GB. Okay. If it crosses, as a developer, we used to take the backup, keep the relevant data, and we used to continue that. That is a vertical. Our memory size, or we used to increase for that, for this table alone, and we are increasing. That is called vertical scaling. Since nowadays people are talking about horizontal scaling, distributed environment servers, okay, and because of that, okay, nowadays, if I want to query for this customer, where assume that I want to write a query, right? Select star from customer where something condition salary, sorry, the buy purchased purchase cost equivalent to 1000 to purchase cost. So 2000, something like that. Assume that in all three servers, I can execute the same queries. Then I can merge this and I can give the result. So this
Sir,
is the advantage of
when you say server, that means it's a different database?
the same replication of same structured data, but number of records are defined. How many records? It may be based on the size, or it may be based on the some threshold they will keep, and they will keep different node. It is as good as you are keeping 3 laptops in the cloud.
We can also write a cron job, right, sir?
Yeah.
A cron job.
So that cron job is nothing but that is a scheduling jobs. Okay. See, in cloud, the configurational mechanisms are there. Okay, scheduling mechanisms are that they will set the condition automatically. So this will be done by DBA, database administrator. That is not the developers will do, but the database specific people will be there. They will take this administration part. But for you, that's why the cloud people and database like architect and all those things, they know that what is the problem, and they according to that they fine tune your database structure. For you as a developer, as a data analyst, you should have a fair understanding of what is the schema, what is the structure, what is the data type.
Yes, sir. And writing some queries and fetching some data.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
you are just doing your job end with just with that. But whereas a database like administrator will analyze this, and they will replicate all those things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bharati. So you are able to follow?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So it means that you cannot predict, but you can predict at roughly, but they will take a precautionary measures. Once the memory or space is reached some threshold, automatically whether you need a vertical scaling or horizontal scaling, decision will be made. According to that, infrastructure will be upgraded.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So now, but anyhow, it is a good question you have asked. That will be insight for few people. Okay, now we have understood what is the database and how to create and how this one. Now, see, as similarly other things, okay, we have data type concept also, because when you when you want to store the information, that is nothing but how many rooms you want in the apartment. For example, as good as that. For example, if you integer type, for example, if you have a single bedroom house, okay, if it is a 30 by 40 and there is a 2-bedroom, the 2 houses are there of single bedroom, like that. Okay, if you want a 3-bedroom, it may be a float kind of thing. If I want 4-bedroom, that may be a double kind of things. So like this, here data storage also they are defining as like similar to other programming language. So data type is nothing but the MySQL in perspective we are talking about. When you talk in general, always we talk about the integer, float, double. These are the and character or string. Only these 4 or 5 different types. But these 4 and 5 types, okay, in each language, what kind of syntax they are using, that's all we have to worry. Okay. For example, you do not require to memorize too much. Just you remember, okay, integer means how they represent. Okay. Do we have any specific data type in this vendor like MySQL or PostgreSQL? So like this, you have to discuss and you have to understand and what kind of the keywords should be used to do that actually. So here also you should remember int for integer represents a whole number. So small int similar to a int, but with a small range. Big int means large numbers. Okay. We call it as a surrogated key to store. We'll discuss about that. Numeric or decimal, float, real, double precision, character. So these are the different types of data, what is called data type. You do not require to worry too much. Okay. Always remember, if you start memorizing the things, you will not learn any programming language. What you have to understand is, okay, oh, there is a integer, there is a float, there is a double, as like in so character or string. So in addition to that, what are the variations among them? What is the syntax? Just you have to recollect. Even I have worked in almost all the databases. Still, whenever I wanted to create, just I will go and glance. For example, if you are working continuously in that database for a few days, so in your subconscious, you are able to do it. The majority of the non-IT people, when they join, they feel that, okay, oh, there are a lot of jargons. Please understand, 1 or 2 days, if you start watching some, if you are a Indian, the Hindi followers, if you start following Hindi, you can suddenly, if you want to follow Tamil movie or a Telugu movie, you can able to follow. Just you have to focus for 2 to 3 days. If you watch 2, 3, 4 movies, automatically you can able to follow. Sometimes Indians may watch Korean movies, okay, or the Persian language, or any other language. If you wanted to do that, we can follow that, okay. But only thing is, we have to follow it. Please understand, the computer science is not meant for memorization. So what you see, what you code, just you remember that. Coding is not at all a big task. Anyone who are from BSc, BCom, MCA, MCom, earlier days, the people when the companies like Infosys, Wipro started, there was nothing called MTech in computer science. Majority of people who joined are from the non-IT background only. And they were, nowadays, they become a successful software engineer. Only when there are sufficient people is required, then we got a specialization. Now people are talking about with, sometimes we say that, okay, computer science is the mandatory de facto to join for IT industry, but it is not like that. Majority of companies, there are n number of companies, they always look for skill rather than they are thinking about which course you have done, what kind of this one, what kind of projects you have worked on. That is more relevant for us. And what kind of experience you got it, that is more important. So that's why when we are talking jargons, don't worry if the hundreds of jargons they talk, because every like a month, every 6 months, new things will come in IT, but we should not get scared because of that. So this is very simple tricks you have to follow, and always just go with flow. You will be able to do it. Okay. So it is not at all a, what we call it, say, even it is a computer science, we call it as it is a computer. As per me, it is not a science, it is a arts. Just remember that. Whether you are restarting the career, whether you are a non-coder or a coder, please believe in yourself. This is just like some pattern you have to follow. Your brain is able to capable to handle that. Just you need to focus. Okay, continuously you have to tell that, okay, I am capable, I can follow. So if you are able to do that, then this will not be a challenge for you people. At this moment, data type is nothing but these are the different types of the data type supported by MySQL. So if you talk about here, just for quick glance, I'm giving here. So character string type. So fixed length of character strings, variable length of character strings means here, if I say 10, char of 10, that means the memory space is allocated for 10 characters, 10 bytes maybe. Whereas where character, when you enter, even though you have defined 250, but you are using only 10 characters. So then that is nothing but a variable length. Only that much size will be allocated. So while creating, whether you can use char, fixed space, or varchar. And even if you want to bring some text, always, okay, you can go for this also. And if you want to store the image data, something like that, binary, okay. So variable binary data, blob people, if you want to store large, big object, okay, people are taking blob, okay. Date, what is the format it is supported, you have to see default. You can change the format. Time, hour, minutes, and second. Timestamp, interval. Boolean also it is supporting. So like this, you can follow n number of data types. Just you should remember, if you find something to be float, numeric, if you create 2, 3 tables, you will able to recognize that what are the different types of data type supports. Okay, so that's all the tricks here actually. Now, if you go here, the first is we have understood how to create a database. So next is we are talking about the table creation in the database. I may be going there. Okay, so like for example, so I have created create database UPL DB. So this is a database, and I may in this database, for example, if you are solving for employee. So some company may be having the employee department, okay, or it may be a student, maybe someone, if it is a companies belongs to this one, okay, there may be clerk, okay, some admin may be there. Like this,
Department.
these are all different tables, different tables. So now we are understanding for creating a company. So we have created, for example, if company name is UPL, I have created UPL database. If it's a table, create table similar to that. So what we do is syntax, okay, table name. So it is just a variable name, okay, create table name. And in that I can mention, okay, what is that, name, column name, okay, data type, name, 1, and what is the constraint. Whether a constraint we already discussed in the previous session, primary key, foreign key, second key, so unique or something like that. So you have to keep defining column name 1, column name 2, data type, whether you want to integer or float, according to the database you are using, what is the syntax you have to see and keep adding that. So name 3, data type, okay, 3, and constraint. So we keep adding this, okay, like this we are adding, and it becomes a table. So similarly, so this is how we can do that actually. Now, for example, let me, if you go there, okay, it will allocate a default size actually. I have not seen recently, so I have not explored. I should explore that. Okay, what is the default size for a, say, the 200 KB or something like that. Okay, I have forgotten actually. So, but you can explore that. Now, if I want to create a table, for example, quickly, instead of typing to save the time, let me go to the table. So I can take this one actually. Okay, sorry. Create table. So this is the syntax. Quickly, I can create. Create table, table or table name. This is the column name, integer type, constraint is primary key. If there is no constraint, I will not be adding this. First name, variable length, instead of char, so I have added the varchar. So to save the space. Okay, so 50, last name, birthday date format, MMDDYY, salary, the 2 decimal part. So we can do that. So now if I wanted to do that, let me refresh any database is there. Database is not there. So first you have to create a database. Create database UPL DB. So I will do this. So let me execute this. So database is created. Let me refresh this. Now, once this is done, if you run this, you will get an error. Okay. So it is telling that you can't create because no database is selected. So how do you select? If you double click here, it will be selected. Then you can execute. Otherwise, you have to use UPL underscore DB. So you have to use this. Then you have to execute this. Then this will be highlighted. Okay. Then after that, you have to execute. Okay, just you remember that. Okay, sometimes what we create it and we are expecting if it is a 3-5 databases are there, in which database it is creating. So always which is showing in the bold color, or you have to write the use, you have to execute this query. In that one, it will be created. So now if you see that there is a employee and these are the columns we have. Now, if you want to understand what is the structure, if you go to the Oracle, we have to write instead of DES, describe also we can use it. So here, this is telling that these are the field, these are the data type. If any constraints are there, no. It is a primary key constraint. Default, there is no value, and extra information, we have not kept anything. So this is how a structure of a table will be created as a part of DDL. So this is what we have understood. So that means we are able to follow, create a database, and we are able to create a table. So any questions here? Anyone has any questions, please?
No, sir.
Others, please. Alfana, Nancy, do you have any questions able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir,
fine.
able to
Thank you.
follow.
Now let me go to the next. Okay. So we can create, so adding a primary key and foreign key. So this is an example. Just quickly, I'm going here. Okay. So that you can able to understand quickly. So if you go to the customer, so this is one. Okay. Let me go here. I believe that you people now are able to understand. So I think this is there. Okay. So customer ID, primary key, first name, last name. So primary key also, we know that how it is created. The table is created, customer. So there are two tables are there. So we have done this. Now, if you create a customer place as a order. So how to create a foreign key? So that is what it is shown here. How to create an in DDL. How do you create the constraint? So create a table, orders. Okay. You are creating a table. Who has given the order? Customer. Which table? This table. So this is you have to say which is the table name and which is the primary key. It should be a primary key of a table. Which is the primary key here? The customer ID is the primary key. I am referring this customer has placed the order. So this is what we can create a primary key and foreign key. So here order ID is the primary key and then customer ID is there. Order date is there, but I am mentioning it. So foreign key, this is the foreign key. And here customer ID, this is this one. From which table you are referring? There is a customer's table in this customer ID. Let me execute this. Now this constraint has been created. Now order table also created. So there is an order table. Let us see the describe customers and execute this. So you can able to see here. And similarly, this DSC orders. So you are able to see that order ID, customer ID, and this one. So so you are referring to the customer ID. Okay. So like this we can refer. It is not showing as FK, but this is the how it will be describing. In each table, each what we call it as a what we call it module, okay, like MySQL, PostgreSQL, it depends on that. Okay, but at this moment, remember, like this is the simplest way to create a primary key and foreign key. So primary key and foreign key. So we have understood how to create a primary key table and foreign key. Similarly, if you want enumeration, these are different forms of these things. Okay, create table products. Product ID is primary key. Product name is varchar. And if I want to say that always the category, I should select electronics, clothing, books, and furniture. It should not be any other products in your portal. Assume that you have a portal. We are selling only either electronics or clothing or books or furniture. If you wanted to do that enumeration, so that is there and we can do this. So let us do this. Okay, just for your this one. Okay. Now, error is there. It may be copy paste means there will be some issue. Okay, just you should know how to handle. So it is done. So there is a instead of single quote, it has some special symbol. Because of that, it has an issue. So we are able to see the product. So if you describe this products. So describe products. So you can see that, okay, electronics, clothing, books, furniture. So any one of this value only can insert, okay. But since we have not get into the DML, just we are talking about DDL. First part is only we are talking about creation, the structure of the table. So next one, this is most important for us. So auto
Excuse me,
increment.
sir.
Yeah.
So when we use this enumerator, so do we no need of specifying the data type?
So here enumerated values, we are fixed values with constant values. Okay, because of that. But ideally speaking, as a web developer, now we are not handling at the database side. Usually we will do at the coding style. But since when database evolved,
we did not have that kind of specification or something like that. But if you are a Java developer or a .NET developer, we always tell not to handle these type of things in the database because debugging will be very difficult. So nowadays, we never go and here just we create a data category. Since this is a character, I may create a varchar of 20 or something like that. That's it. But earlier days when MySQL or PostgreSQL has been released, people used to handle in this way. But since it is a journey we made, the languages are evolved. So sometimes you could see that, okay, the .NET people who are working, they always use the procedures. Okay. But procedures will not help you to debug the any issues. Because in real time, if any issues comes, it is very difficult. That's why many Java developers or architects always suggest that as a best practices, please do write a code, anything to be handled. Database use just a base schema and you handle it because debugging will be very easy. So it depends upon, but execution wise, performance wise, if you write everything on the database side, it will be more effective. But if you want to, since nowadays hardware infrastructure is so much scaled up, okay, you do not require to worry about too much about that. And because of that, we always believe in that, okay, better to handle in the coding side.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why enumerators are there in the coding programming. Yeah. Now, once this is done, okay, we have understood. Now there is a concept of auto increment column. Why this is there? Earlier days, like this is also one of the important database foundation. We know that, okay, let me create this. Okay. Now I will go to this command rather than here. So no database selected. Let me create this. So sorry. Okay. Use show database. Let me go to the this also I can show command prompt. Show databases. So there are MySQL, UPL DB, it is there. Okay. Some predefined schemas are there, but I am using the UPL DB. Let me use UPL DB. If I am comfortable in command prompt, show tables. How many tables are there? Here it is there. Now, what I wanted to create is, I want to create a student table. Let me, instead of workbench, I am creating using this. So it has created students. Show tables. So students table is created. DSC students. So it has created with type int primary key, but there is an extra definition is there, auto increment. What is auto increment? Earlier days, student ID, they used to, this is a primary key, yes. And we used to generate a student ID like this, maybe like 1001. Next, maybe like a X college, X underscore 1001. Something I may, if it is a created in 2025, something like that I could have taken. And this is unique, so I can create this as a primary key. But now what has happened is, earlier days we used to write a code to generate the primary key for the table. Okay. But what is our objective? To reduce the like a coding time. Because of that, today, earlier days, if you want to be a developer, minimum 4 years, 5 years, 6 years developer. Now, even college fresh graduate also can become a IT developer because technology is so much evolved. If you use it, you do not require to write this logic. Earlier days, we used to write a very big logic. We used to discuss what is the standard format to be given for student ID, but this is the primary key. And now, instead of that, they have given the concept of auto increment. Now, instead of this ID, just for each table, it will generate like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will be unique actually. So primary key should be unique. So that means other than the what is called primary key, only other information you have to insert. The sequencing of this number will be taken care by your database. So maybe it is a sequence is 1001, something like that, it may generate. This may be a 100, okay, 2, okay, there may be different, but this is always integer type numbers and also unique. So that's why instead of this is a primary key only, and it is also unique and not null. Since you are not generating, system itself is generating for you to support you. For all the tables nowadays, they will use what is called auto increment. Auto increment term they will use because of that auto increment term. So auto increment primary key, it means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many records are there? That will be sequencing automatically. You do not require to break the head for that. Such keys are called as a surrogated key. Now we are in the era of surrogated key. When you are designing this one, you are not at all worried to create the database design. So now this unique key will be generated by your own database, and this is called as a surrogated key. So that's why they will ask difference between what is the primary key, what is the foreign key, and also surrogated key. This is more important in the design purpose. If you feel that, okay, you never understand this, then I think you are not working as a developer. So if you want to work as a developer, so whatever the key is generated, for example, and keep switching from different window, one is command prompt and this for your comfortness, both can be used. I am comforted to use on the command prompt, but you people can use workbench also. So because you can able to see here. So students, okay, I can see that int, varchar, date. So these things you can able to create and you can use it and extra auto increment. So this is a simple way of creating the database and table. So we have understood how to create a database. Also, we have understood what is the how to create a table, and also we have understood how to create a primary key and foreign key, and also we have understood how to create enumerated this one. But creation of enumeration nowadays we have forgotten totally, and but as a feature it is there, and but we are using auto increment more. Okay, so that is sequentially we can generate. Nowadays, when you use the Spring .NET or this type of these things, they have Hibernate concept where they will take care what to increment, how to increment, and all those things. So, but at this moment, assume that MySQL or any other database, they support for the surrogated key also. So surrogated key also. So anyhow, I have all the possible cases here. We are going to discuss this one. Tomorrow it is not there. Okay, usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, continuously 4 days will be their sessions. So every 4 days, we will be covering. This is the first week we have made a journey for the database. So next week we will continue. But it is a beautiful subject. Just I need 2 more weeks to complete all the things. And since we save time by copying, and but initially for you people, when you are practicing, you type it. Okay, type whatever the things here and try to do mistakes so that you can be comfortable in doing when you are a developer. Since when we are teaching, just we copy paste the things, it doesn't mean that you should also require to copy paste. So any questions before conclude for today?
Sir, I have.
Yeah, Shanupriya, yeah, tell me.
So I have one question. Like you said, the surrogated key will be generated by the database itself. So
Yeah.
when we are inserting any data, we should keep the particular primary key value and then send the data, and then the primary key will be automatically inserted into the table.
Primary key will be automatically generated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is
so
always.
When we write a, so we no need to when we when we insert a query, we can skip the field and then.
Yes. That is how we do
okay.
it. As a developer, we do like that only.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? But as a book definition, people still who never worked on the actual application, they will be thinking that creating a primary key pattern and everything. But actually, we don't do that. We create a big int and we give the primary key and simply we continue. Yeah. Any other questions from someone?
Sir, if you want to insert a values that are more than like a 3 and 4, like
Hmm.
how do we continuously insert value? By using insert value by table and we insert, right? If we have
The insertion I will be discussing in data manipulation language, DML, next part. Okay.
Yeah,
In
sir.
this session, we are talking about how to create a structure that is nothing but data definition language. When you come to the DML, you will be knowing that how do we use the syntax on that.
Sir, and like for every time, do we like really need to use enumeration or it is not okay?
No,
Not
enumerations we are handling through the code. We are not handling through the database. But initial days when the program has been given, okay, people are start using that. That's it.
yes, sir. Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So any other questions? Okay. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Okay. Please, maybe next session will be from Monday. Weekly 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Weekly 4 days will be any session. Just cooperate for next 2 weeks so that your session will be completed. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.